Good morning, everybody. I hope that we're having a great start to our day and a great week so far. Today's video is going to be all about something called point-slope form. So far we've learned about slope-intercept form, and this will be the next iteration of what we're learning about in terms of how we write equations for slope, for different lines and everything like that, okay? So without further ado, let's get to the video.
Alright, today's video is going to be all about standard form, and I hope that by the end you're able to graph linear equations using the intercepts, and I also hope that you're able to write linear equations in standard form. But first, let's figure out what even is standard form. So standard form of a linear equation, this is very particular, there's different versions of standard form for different types of equations, but for linear equations, it's written in the form ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, and a and b are not both 0. When it comes to graphing a linear function in standard form, first thing we want to do, we want to identify and then plot our y-intercept. And we need to remember in order to find our y-intercept, that means that our x value is 0. Then we need to identify and plot our x-intercept, which means our y value needs to be 0. And then we can draw a line through those 2 points. Okay, so let's get into some practice problems and we'll kind of see how this goes. So, identify the intercepts and graph each equation. We have 3x plus 5y equals 15. Now, if it's a y-intercept, like I said before, that means my x value is 0. And if it's an x-intercept, that means my y value is 0. So all I have to do is plug in the appropriate zeros into the appropriate spots in order to find what my answer is going to be. So for my y-intercept, that means my x value is 0. So this is like 3 times 0 plus 5y equals 15. Or 5y equals 15, and I think we all know that our y value is going to be 3 there. Same process needs to happen for my x-intercept. It's going to be 3x plus 5 times 0, because my y value has to be 0 for an x-intercept because it's on my x-axis. It's not going up or down at all, equals 15. 3x equals 15, and I think we all know that our x value is going to be 5 there. So now all I have to do is I need to plot my y-intercept and my x-intercept and then draw a line through them. So I have the points 0, 3, and let me just make this red. 0, 3 is my y-intercept, so I start at 0 and then I move up 3. And then my x-intercept, let me just double check, is 5, 0, so I move to the right 5. And I don't go up and on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now all I have to do is I need to connect these 2 lines. Let me just make my start and end lines like that. Perfect. Connect those 2 as best as possible. And we go from there. And that's how we go about taking a equation written in standard form for a linear equation, find our y and x intercepts, and then go ahead and plot those. Let's try some other examples. So example 2, write each equation in standard form, and I need to use integer coefficients, which means I need positive or negative whole numbers. So I'm going to do parts A, B, and C for you really quick, but I'm going to leave D for you to do on your own. So I need to be able to write it in the form AX plus BY equals C. So that means I need to get my X value to be on the same side as my Y value. So for A, all I need to do is I need to add by 2x on both sides. And then I have that written in standard form. 2x plus y equals 5. Perfect. Part B. It looks like I'm going to need to do some distributive property on the right-hand side. So I need to start off with my left and just keep it the same. But I really want you to pay attention. it looks like this equation, this linear equation, is written in point slope form, something that we just learned about. So this is how we go from point slope form to standard form. So on my left-hand side, I keep y plus 1, and I need to distribute 3 to the x and 3 to the negative 2. So this is going to be 3x minus 6. Now all I need to do is I need to subtract by 3x on both sides. So I have negative 3x plus y plus 1 equals negative 6. And now I need to get my constants to be on the same side. So my answer is going to be, if I just scribble this part out, it's going to be negative 3x plus y equals negative 7. And that's going to be my final answer in standard form. One more example, and this is really where we have to take this idea of multiplying or changing our numbers so that way we have whole number integer coefficients. So the first thing that I'm going to do for part C is I'm actually going to try to get rid of my denominator here, which means I need to multiply both sides by 4, okay? So this is going to be 4y on the left equals my 3/4 times 4, my denominator is going to cancel out. So it's going to be left with 3x, and then we're going to have minus 5 times 4, which is going to be minus 20. So in fact, the last thing that I need to do is I need to subtract by 3x on both sides, and I get negative 3x plus 4y equals negative 20. Perfect. Let's move on. So, graphing vertical and horizontal lines. What is the graph of each equation? So this is a little bit different than standard form, but it still relates to our intercepts. So in our first equation, what is the graph of each equation? Y equals 3. Now, when they say that y equals 3, that leads me to think. So my y-intercept must be at the point 0, 3. So let me just write that down. Y-intercept has to be at the point 0, 3. But for any other point that I have, it's always going to be a y value of 3, no matter if it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So whenever I just have y equals a number, this in fact is just going to be a horizontal line at whatever that y value is. So I move up 1, 2, 3, and I'll straighten that out a little bit here. And that's exactly what that graph is going to look like. A horizontal line at the y value of 3. Now for part B, when x equals negative 2, it's actually really similar. That's saying that my x-intercept is at negative 2, 0. So no matter what y value I have, I'm always going to have that x value of negative 2 because that's the only piece of information that they give you. They just tell you no matter what, your x value is negative 2. So it could be your y value 0 or negative 1 or 5 or negative 5. It doesn't matter because your x value is always going to be equal to negative 2. So in fact, this is very similar to what we just did in our other equation, except it is a vertical line where x equals negative 2. So let's see if I can get that to be on there a little bit more. Perfect. And that's what those graphs would look like. So again, a little bit different, but it still hits on those x and y intercept ideas that we need for standard form. One last example that we have moving forward. A real world situation. So you receive a gift card for $100 to download songs and movies. Each song costs $1.30 and each movie costs $20. Write and graph an equation that describes the items you can purchase. Give 2 examples of what you can purchase with your gift card. So let's relate this back to what we just learned with standard form. AX plus BY equals C. All I need to do here is I need to figure out where I'm going to try to put these numbers, where are they appropriate, okay? So I'm going to say that X is number of songs you buy. That doesn't look like bought. We'll change that. And Y is going to be number of movies bought. Since we have those pieces of information now, since we have labeled what our variables are going to be, that makes it a whole lot easier for us to associate the costs and where they go. So if I'm talking about the number of songs bought, I know that each song costs $1.30. Plus, it's $20 to get in any movie per movie. So it's 20 times Y. And in fact, when we add up both of those purchases, they have to equal $100 because that's however much our gift card costs. We cannot go over that. So that is in fact how we would write our equation to help represent that situation. Now, give two examples of what you could purchase with your gift card. If I wanted to, I could say that I bought 0 movies and zero songs and I bought 5 movies. And in fact, I could write this as a point and I can go ahead and graph this. 0 songs, 5 movies. Or I could say that I bought 30 songs and 3 movies. Okay? Any solution that you have is going to create a line in this example. Okay? So, those are all of the examples that I have. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below, or you can message me on Schoology. But until next time, I hope that you have a great day.